moments, dispatching the bodyguards who stood watch over the remote hideout in the Urals. He had come within seconds of killing his enemy, when the man escaped his grasp once more, rescued by the same uncanny luck that had been his savior for the last 200 years. The immortal shoved the rifle into its straps and headed over the ice. Despite the wound, his prey accelerated and angled for a black outcrop rising out of the glacier to the left. Cold air seared the immortal's throat as he pursued the bleeding figure. He had just reached the crimson trail staining the pristine snow when a distant boom reached his ears. He stopped and looked up. Movement on the slope some 6,000 feet above him caught his gaze. A wall of whiteness slowly detached itself from the face of the mountain. The wounded man froze in his tracks. He stared at the approaching avalanche before moving once more, his legs pumping awkwardly through the snow as he raced for the shelter of the spur of rock. The immortal followed, despair sending a fresh burst of energy through his body. No, not now, not when I'm this close. The deluge rushed inexorably closer, a tidal wave of death dancing gracefully down the incline. The immortal staggered after his prey, his resolve unshaken, air leaving his body in harsh gasps. The land rocked violently beneath his feet. He floundered and lost his footing. A thunderous explosion tore the air as he fell to his knees. A large crack appeared in the glacier in front of him. The immortal's eyes widened. A cold blast knocked him sideways and sent him tumbling along the incline. He rolled and slid to a stop on his stomach some 20 feet down the slope. The roar of the approaching maelstrom of snow and ice echoed against the looming peaks and vales. The fissure lengthened. He blinked and saw a jagged line dart inches past his right hand before snaking toward the distant tree line behind him. He scrambled backward as a dark crevasse opened in the ice sheet. The ground crumbled beneath him. His stomach dropped. He yanked his sword from the scabbard on his back and stabbed the blade frantically upward. It sank into the edge of the ice just as he started to fall. He dangled from the hilt for a shocked moment before slowly looking down at the yawning darkness between his legs. His breath froze in his throat, the fear that gripped him almost paralyzing in its intensity. He gritted his teeth and reached up with his free hand, his flailing fingers searching desperately for purchase. They closed on the lip of the widening chasm. The avalanche became a deafening howl that eclipsed the rapid drumbeat of his pulse. He looked over his shoulder. His prey had reached the rocky outcrop and was crouched beneath it, his body braced for impact. Their eyes met through a thickening mist of fine snow. The wounded man smiled, his gaze full of dark triumph. The immortal closed his eyes. Despair formed a tightening band around his heart as he steeled himself for what was to come. The white torrent washed over the crevasse, pounding him with a cold, deadly weight that knocked the air out of his lungs. A rock smashed into his fingers, breaking skin and bone. He choked back a cry and swallowed a mouthful of snow. The sword shuddered in his grasp. He let go of the edge of the chasm and clung to the hilt with both hands. Blood made his grip slippery. Another crack reached his ears. He looked up through the gray haze and glimpsed the fracture tearing through the ice, holding the blade. It collapsed a second later. He fell into the abyss, sword in hand. Wind whistled in his ears. White walls rushed past him. The light faded as the deluge followed him into the gulf. Soaring cliffs of black rock replaced the walls of ice as he fell through the crevasse into the very bowels of the mountain itself. Then the rock disappeared. He had a vague impression of a gaping, empty void before he struck the ground. Pain exploded through his consciousness, blocking out sight and sound. He felt his bones shatter. The earth shifted beneath him once more. Icy liquid suddenly flooded his throat. He gasped and choked, as freezing numbness engulfed his body, dulling the agony, searing his senses. The immortal blinked and registered the clear waters surrounding him in dull incomprehension.